Hi everybody, welcome to the second ever dev vlog for HipWitch, a chill indie game about exploring a nature reserve, casting magic spells, and talking to quirky, flawed characters and helping them find their next step in this strange life. I'm Brett, lead artist at Studio Hipsword, and today's vlog is, thankfully, actually about the art. More specifically, the design of our player character and titular HipWitch, meet Prom. I'm really happy with how she turned out, and I thought you guys might be interested in learning about the design process. So, without further ado, here's how we designed Prom. Okay, maybe just a little ado. I just wanted to remind you guys that we do have a Studio Hipsword Discord where you can hang out, chat, or even provide ideas and feedback to the team. We could really use your help. We have no idea what we're doing. Okay, on with the show. So the thing about starting at the ground level of a new project is that everything is in flux. As a character designer, you're trying to hone in on the ideal character for that project, but that project's identity isn't even materialized yet. So you've got to be ready to slice off vestigial drawings that don't make sense anymore because, I don't know, the story changed, or the gameplay changed, or whatever. For example, some of my earliest designs were actually for a pair of main characters. If you watched our previous vlog, you'll know that HipWitch takes a lot of inspiration from the witch road trip art of Woonyoung Jung. And a big part of the appeal for me, at least, is the friendship of the girls and the memories they're making together. And we kind of want to replicate that by having two characters. Maybe friends, probably sisters that were going through some kind of rough patch in their relationship, and we thought that maybe the story was one of coming of age and reconciliation. But in the end, we had no idea what to do with a second character, like from a gameplay perspective and like a scope perspective. Like, did we have time for that? Probably not, so we decided to cut that idea in search of something a bit more elegant that fit the rest of the game's design better. So after a little break, I came back to character design with a pretty broad scattershot approach. Keep in mind that our character was still a basic brief with no finalized name, personality, power set, whatever. However, we did have a few key conceptual traits that were important to convey visually. She was a witch, she was a young adult, and she exuded an old-school, cool 90s style. Figuring out how to marry those elements was my number one priority to start with, and anything else we would hopefully figure out along the way. So, we cracked out the mood boards and bizarre cultural relics, and churned out about a bazillion interesting girls. Some of my favorites include this broomstick skater girl and the backwards witch cap. A lot of these designs skewed a little bit grunge, as I still had this angsty vibe in my head from the whole sisters pitch. But as our writer, Sailor, wrote the demo script, he found himself writing her as a much more headstrong character, confronting her youthful lack of direction a bit more boldly. So, over all the variations, we found ourselves returning to this particular frontrunner over and over again, which is honestly not too far off the final version of Prom. Something about her short curly hair, the exposed arms, and that plaid shirt tied around her waist portrays this easy pragmatism of someone who's ready to get out there and sort her dang life out. So we borrowed some of her physical appearance and sense of style from real-life people who gave off a similar vibe. There's a lot of inspiration from popular witchcraft YouTuber, the Witch of Wonderlust, and the effortless swagger of actress Ruth Negga, who is one of the coolest women to have ever walked the face of the earth. So anyway, several rounds of iteration later, we ended up with the final design. Now, there are so many minor tweaks here and there that I'd be here all day if I try to explain all of them, but most obviously are the bag and the footwear. She needed somewhere to store all of the witchy mushrooms and rare flowers you pick up over the course of the game, and Chucks are just a classic 90s shoe. Unfortunately, we did drop the camera, cool as it was, as we scrapped the game mechanic it went with, but, you know, not for nothing, it would have been a pain in the butt to draw over and over from different angles. Yeesh. A few more scattered thoughts about this design. She ended up a little bit muscular. This wasn't totally on purpose. I tend to just like on autopilot draw muscular characters, but I think this toned body ended up really suiting the tomboyishness of this design. I'm also really happy we landed on a brown person, like as a brown person. I would love it if we could make more games with more brown people in them. Not just because I like cooking with a little seasoning, but because it's nice to feel included. I'm really happy with this design. I think the colors pop, and I'm really happy with the fact that it seems to leave an impression. Like, I think it's memorable, and I think it has a personality. And that's pretty much it. That's how we designed Prom. It felt kind of aimless in the moment, and often I felt like I was getting nowhere, but it's important to remember that creativity is not always something that follows a linear line of tangibility. Sometimes it takes a detour and goes somewhere else, and you make a bunch of stuff you don't like. But even the failures are contributing to what you will eventually create. So if you're feeling stuck, hang in there a little longer, and maybe you'll just, by happenstance, hit the thing that you wanted after all. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. By the way, follow us on social media for other HipWitch goodness. And also, check out the other devlogs by our composer, Yogev. He shares very interesting insights about the music making process, so please give him some love. He deserves it. Okay, bye.